Get us started by saying something, anything.
Something bread.
What's a binomial in 120?
Binominal?
That's binomial.
Hey,
Binomials.
That's binomial.
What I meant.
What he meant?
Binomial.
By
What's a binomial?
we can repronounce it how we want to. I don't care. It's
Hey,
by
no.
whatever.
Football 120.
Binomial.
Binomial. Okay. First off, the objective is called, and this is two objectives right here. So like on Monday, you've got the exercise. It's going to have two objectives, except for those of you who've already passed it.
What's
But-
19 plus 110?
120.
120.
Okay, multiply two binomials. Really easy objective. We've moved past systems, and this is the home stretch. The next 2 weeks, it does get easier than systems. We've thought systems are the hardest thing ever. That is as hard as it gets, and now it gets easier. With some easy objectives you need to know, because they're going to be easy questions on the EOI. A binomial is, the prefix bi means two. It is an expression with two terms. So when I say what's a binomial, it means it's two terms. And then what you see in this parenthesis right here, like not both parentheses, but just in this one parenthesis, there's an x and a number. That's a binomial. And then over here in this other parenthesis, x and minus 4, that's another binomial. Just two pieces. That's all it means. We're going to see ones that are trinomials where they have three. And then we're going to see once you get bigger than three, they're just called polynomials. But for this first objective,
Poly, more than one.
poly is more than one. So we got bi is 2, tri is 3, and then poly is more than 1. And that's on a later objective. But here's your two binomials, and we're going to learn to multiply this group of stuff with this group of stuff. And it's kind of like a big distributive property. But there's this little four-letter word that you need to know to multiply them. And that is FOIL. F-O-I-L. And I can promise you every student in every algebra class across the state has heard their teacher say FOIL at some point during the year. So it's not something I made up. It is, first.
Outer,
Yeah.
inner, last.
Did you hear it pre-algebra at some point last year? Okay. Some people, did anybody else hear it from Mr. Hughes last year?
No.
No.
He didn't teach us this.
Okay, so
Did Hughes even teach?
he taught something. Well, I guess
wasn't there last
He
year.
taught us
wasn't
enough
there.
to pass.
Yeah, he wasn't really there all last year.
I got you.
Yeah, he kind of like.
Okay, so sometimes I'll say multiply those binomials. More often than not, what I'm going to say is, oh yeah, you got to FOIL that. And here's how it works. Kind of like what Brian said. F stands for first. First. O stands for outside. So the first, then the outside. The I stands for inside. And the L stands for last. So you have to do 4 different multiplications, and we're going to draw these like rainbow like arcs on our problem. So when I say F first, that means you look at your binomials, and we're going to multiply the first piece out of each one. That's this and this. So draw that right there, that arc. Now what we haven't talked about all year long is when you multiply x and x, it doesn't make 2x. We're not adding x's. When you multiply x times x, it makes x squared. If you multiplied 5 times 5, that would be called 5 squared, or 25. So x times x, there's x squared. That's your F. Now O means outside. So in this binomial, your outside is this far one and this one. The outermost pieces. X times negative 4. So draw that arc. That's your O. Now what is x times negative 4?
Negative 4.
Negative 4x. So then your second piece is negative 4x. There's your O. Now I go below and I'm going to do my I, which is the inside two pieces. These two pieces are the inside two pieces.
2x.
Yeah, 2 times x makes 2x. That's your I. And then when I say L, I mean the last piece of each binomial. That's the 2 and the negative 4. What is 2
Negative,
times negative 4?
negative 8.
Negative 8. There's your L. So you end up 4 multiplications. The F, the O, the I, the L. Now what happens 90% of the time, or maybe 99% of the time, is that the O and I are like terms. Look at them. O and I are like terms that get combined. The F and the L usually don't, they're different, but the O and the I usually go together. So what is negative 4 plus 2? Minus 2. So you get x. Oh wait, no, that's x squared. Yeah, I lost it up here.
X squared minus
2x
minus 8.
minus 8. And that is a trinomial. So you multiply two binomials, CLT the middle two pieces, and you get a trinomial. And that's how it works. F-O-I-L. Now let's look at this one. They're going to use different letters, and they have this coefficient with the D. So what is in our FOIL? What's the first letter?
4.
F.
F, which means first. 2D times 2D. First off, multiply the coefficients. 2 times 2 makes
40
4, and then D and D makes D,
squared.
so 4D squareds. So when you have coefficients of letters, just multiply the coefficients first, the letters second. 4D squared is your F.
Wait, multiply it or add it?
And that was multiply. It worked, 2 times 2 and 2 plus 2 is the same, but it's multiplied. It's multiplied. So that's the 4 comes from multiplying. Now 2D times negative 5 makes 2 and negative 5 is
Negative 10.
negative 10D. So there's our O gives us negative 10D. I bet our I gives us another D piece. Negative 1 times 2D. What's negative 1?
Negative 2.
Negative 2D. And then here comes your L. Negative 1 times negative 5. Negative 1 and negative 5 makes? Positive 5. Can we CLT the middle two pieces here?
Yes.
Yes. So negative 10 and negative 2 go together and make?
Negative
Negative 12. 4D squared minus 12D plus 5. All right, Jeff, on a scale of 1 to 10 in difficulty, how far do you, where do you rank this objective so far? 1 being easy, 10 being immaculately hard.
So 2.
2. Okay.
11.
2's not bad. 2's not bad.
11.
Why you always have to guess?
Just like in the dead middle, he represents all of you guys' opinion.
My name's
On how
I don't know.
Say
No,
Shaq.
I don't know about that.
He always answers those.
I'm saving that.
Say Shaq.
The shack shot,
Yes.
we shall see.
Here, I'll take your shot.
The SS
I hear you.
Shack.
Okay, here we go. Nothing different up here. F-O-I-L. What do we do on F? Multiply 9C times what?
8C.
9C and 8C makes, sorry, 9 and 8.
72.
Negative 70.
70.
Positive
Negative
72.
72C squared.
C squares. All right, after the F comes what? F then
O.
O, which is 9C and negative 4. So
Negative 36.
negative 36 C's. Halfway done. Your I, this little arc, negative 4 and 8C.
That'll be 32C. Negative 32C.
Negative 32C. Oh, I forgot the C right here. Don't forget the C. And then negative 4, negative 4.
16.
Negative 6. Or no, that is 6.
Positive 16, right? CLT. I kind of made it sloppy here, but CLT, your middle twos, negative 36 and negative 32.
Negative 68. 4C. Negative. Wait.
Negative.
Wait, never mind.
Negative 36 minus 32 is negative.
68.
68. C.
Ooh.
Negative.
I have one too.
Plus 16. And the last thing that we have, which could pop up on one of these objectives, it's actually one of the next objectives that we're going to do. But it's when you have a binomial being squared. This is binomial. Like if you didn't have that 2 next to it, even if without the parentheses, you don't even need these to see that. That's 2 pieces, p and negative 8. It's a binomial. This is a binomial squared. What does squaring mean? When you square something, you're really just
Multiplying it by itself.
multiply by itself. So we're going to multiply this binomial by itself. So you're going to multiply p minus 8 times another p minus 8. You're just multiplying by itself. That's exactly what goes right there. Squaring means multiply by itself. So you square this binomial means p minus 8 times another p minus 8. The square is not on the 8, the square is on this parenthesis, which means this group's getting multiplied by itself. And then we FOIL it. So, p times p.
P squared.
P times negative 8.
Negative 8p.
Again, negative 8 times P.
Negative 8.
And negative 8 and negative 8.
Positive 64.
Positive 64. And then we can just put these two together. You get P squared. That's not 0. That is
Negative 16.
Negative 16.
negative 16P plus 64. Remember, it would have to be negative 8 and positive 8 to make 0. And there's a pattern that works every time you square one of these, but even without knowing the pattern, you can always FOIL it and get the right answer. The pattern is, this goes P squared, you just put these right here, and then you multiply those to get your 68. But even without knowing the pattern, we can still get the right answer. And that's it. So, what's the big 4-letter word you need to know for bar?
Foil.
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 Okay, from here, from
Foil.
up close, because the camera's on both of you. Hold on.
SHAQ.
Me?
Yeah, no, yeah, right here.
I need to know.
Or you first, Asher.
I can't see it.
Hurry up.
Where it at?
Shaq.
Can I stand up and do it?
No.
I gotta sit down.
I'll move it out a little bit.
Shoot that hair.
Here, I got this. It's good. Oh no, put that on the wall.
On the wall, sorry.
Uh-huh.
I don't need the backward.
Oh, backboard in.
Oh, yeah, you do.